Aloha Kohala. It's 3 o'clock here, March 3rd. The calendar says March 2nd, but we know it's March 3rd. 0303-2021. And you're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Eila Allgood and
Michal Anna
with Intuitive Talk Story. I'll fix that in a moment. Okay. But in the meantime...
Hello.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday to you. Happy first Wednesday of March.
Yeah.
We're in Magical March.
Magical March. And I was watching something today that was talking about how each moment of each day this month is extremely valuable. Now, every day is valuable, but there was some kind of extra energy happening in March.
And where were you reading or finding
that? Was a YouTube by Lori Ladd. Somebody I look at sometimes. It just resonates for me.
Did she expand?
And did she expand?
On that concept. Why? Why so?
I don't know. I don't want to try to intellectualize it. It's just she
it's
talked
just
about
magical.
It felt right to me. You know, we listen, and that's what anyone who's listening today, you hear what we say and you see what resonates for you in your body, and you say, "Oh yeah," or "No, that's not my truth." Mm-hmm. So we're not here to tell anybody anything. We're here to have intuitive talk story, what comes to us, what we feel is valuable. And if you want to share something that you feel is valuable, call us.
We'd love to hear from you.
We would. 808-884-5657. I got the phone right here, either with a question or a comment.
So today, what kind of was on my mind, I've been cleaning house and rearranging and creating new spaces and getting rid of old things. And I think that that's a really metaphorical concept to go out with the old, in with the new, get rid of what's not serving you, get rid of the things that are cluttering your space, the things that you're not using anyway, and that are no longer necessary. And I feel like, metaphorically speaking, Magical March is kind of a time for spring cleaning. And we could think of time to think of what's not serving us on all sorts of levels. And one of the things that came up this week was limiting beliefs. I've spoken with a number of clients this week about limiting beliefs and how just that alone already stops you from going anywhere forward. So whenever you find yourself saying, "Oh, I couldn't do that. Oh yeah, I don't know. I could never.
I could never have that.
I could never have that. I could never do that. Yeah. I could never." And on. Right there, you know, oh, I'm engaging in a limiting belief. And always ask a question. Like, so I could never do that. Could I? I mean, could I? Perhaps I could. Is it? Is that really the case? This is how it works. Is it? Right? So to question your beliefs, question what comes out of your mouth about yourself. Like, what am I speaking about myself? We'll keep ourselves in a container. So this limiting belief concept, we've talked about it before, of course, but, stocking our minds and thinking that in terms of, I'm cleaning out the beliefs that no longer serve me as I'm ready to expand into a new, fresh, clean space in my mind, body, spirit. And, as we can do that physically around us, which helps us to do that within the mind, body, spirit, because if we're in a clean space, then we can think more clearly, right? When there's a lot of clutter, it's harder to think. So the more we think of just being with the moment and with what is and what's right in front of you, how can I meet this moment? That also helps us to release struggle. Because the struggle is in getting ahead of ourselves or getting behind ourselves. We get into the past or the present. And that's where the struggle lives, because there's the worry. Maybe I don't have enough money. Maybe this. I'm worried about what I'll have later. Instead of right in this moment, everything's fine. Everything's okay. I have what I need here and now. And if I put my attention on what doesn't serve me and I clear it out, and then I focus on what does, on creating a beautiful space around myself or a beautiful environment for thinking, then I'm focusing my energy on what it is I want and the direction I'm going, and therefore the things that are going to support me in that endeavor start to show up.
Well, as you're talking about that, lots of things popped up for me. when you said, clearing out what doesn't work for me will make space for what does work for me. And a lot of people don't know exactly what they want or how to even find what they want. But one way you can get there is to clear out
what you don't want.
What you don't want. A lot of people know what they don't want. They don't want this job. They don't want this relationship. They don't want, it could be the car. I mean, it doesn't have to be big and profound. It can be very simple.
It can be the stuff you've been like my play. I mean, the stuff I save just because I think someone's going to need that.
Yeah.
I don't like to throw stuff away. I have stuff that's like, I need to give it away. But that's the other part. Maybe you're like me and you feel a little bit of, I don't like I try to take care of what I get, right? Like I want to use it again or give it to someone else. So I have a hard time just throwing something away because I'm not really throwing it away. It's just going into the landfill over there. And that's creating a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
So, there's always complications, but we can find repurposing. I'm repurposing a lot of things at my house right now and then actually getting rid of things too. So it feels good, but we have to let go in order to do that. And then that brings us to attachments, which plays a pretty big part in a lot of these limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
A really easy one to figure would be, and I've used this example before, but it's just so good. My bad hip. I got that bad hip, and it's been like that since the horse fell on me, like when I was 19.
And
right?
there's
this
and the
is
limiting
not my
belief
story. This is a limiting belief.
Right. Nothing. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. Nobody can help me.
Right. And you're just speaking that for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why your hip hurts. And so that limiting belief is creating the hip. But, there's an attachment there to the hip and the limiting belief because, believe it or not, getting something out of that.
It serves you
it
somehow.
serves me somehow. On some level, there's something getting received. Maybe it's attention. My grandkid is like, they open the door for me all the time. They do extra for me. Maybe it's a little sympathy. Maybe it's because really I'm feeling like I never got enough or I feel like I'm a victim. That goes a lot with some of those.
Trauma.
Like trauma. Mm-hmm. I've gone through trauma. I don't feel good about myself. I feel insecure. Maybe I don't feel like I'm worthy to be in a good body and feel good about myself. Maybe I don't feel like I deserve to feel healthy and be able to move in this vessel. So all of those beliefs start to play in to our attachment to the injury, right? Because the first, I don't feel worthy, so I don't deserve to feel good. So that belief creates the attachment to the injury because it's serving me and feeding this program that I'm running around not being worthy or good enough to have health and wellness in my being. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also while you were talking, I was thinking about fear. This was something else I saw today that really resonated for me, which is if we have something like the bad hip and we've been living with that for, 5 weeks or 5 years or 25 years, who are we going to be without it?
Right.
Then what are we going to do? Then what might we need to do? How might my life change if the hip is healed? Am I going to have to go back to work? Maybe it kept you from.
Up at a greater
am I going to have
level?
to show up? Yes.
And sometimes we're scared of showing up and being in our
100%,
greatness
yes.
because it's scarier to rise to the occasion than it is to sit in the shadows sometime, right?
Right.
To rise up and do that. So then if I heal myself, now my grandkids are going to want me to take them places or whatever it might be,
Right. New expectations or and that's part of limiting beliefs. Maybe my family is going to expect something new of me. And I don't want things to change. I want things to stay the same. But we're in a huge transition time in humanity. And this is not the time to play small. This is the time to play big and to look at those things. And we're sharing with you from a place of wanting to champion you to be your best self. That's it. Be the happiest, most joyful, most grandest version of whoever you are.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's a process, and we all have all of these things that we're dealing with in different ways. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. And I was going to say when you were talking about the change and nothing's going to change, maybe you don't want something to change.
Yeah.
I was actually in session this week with a client doing, and we do a lot, this is the work that gets done in session, right? You do spiritual peeling away, looking at what am I really running? What's really happening? What am I doing here? And so the victim program is really that phrasing comes up. If you're someone that hears that, like, things will never change. This is as good as it gets. This is all it's going to be. It'll never be better. If you hear that in your mind, that's not you. Just FYI. Yeah. That's actually the victim program. The victim emotion. You can call it all different things. It's an energy of victim. And like each energy kind of has phrases that it likes to say, honestly, because they're like little programs that run in your computer. Yeah. And they have catchphrases. And one of them is that, like, this is as good as it gets. Nothing doesn't get any better than this. Nothing ever changes. When you can dispel this belief real quickly by realizing that the universe is in constant change. Whenever you're in a place where your mind is taking you into a really narrow hallway, if you can go real big all of a sudden, and she said it's time to go big in your mind. Just go big in your mind and expand it out and go, wait, we're on the planet. Wait, I'm in Hawaii, or I'm in Denver, or I'm in wherever you are, and then expand it out, and then I'm in a country, and then I'm on an Earth, and then we're like in a galaxy, and then in a whole like universe. And you realize that everything is constantly changing. In fact, nothing can ever stay the same because it's constantly expanding and growing and moving. Look at a plant outside. It doesn't stay stagnant. It's shifting, it's growing, it has stages. Everything has stages. The sun is moving and setting, the moon. Everything is in cycles. So there's nothing that stays stagnant. So you can tell your program voice, like, oh, you're wrong, actually. Sorry, everything changes. So I don't believe that. I'm not going to buy into that. And then if you take that a step further and you've listened to some of the stuff we've spoken about before, or perhaps checked out my channel, there are tools for this kind of stuff, which gets into where is it really coming from? What set in that victim? Where is there a wound where you were victimized, traumatized, enslaved? I mean, there's other lifetimes. You're not just dealing with this lifetime. In my belief system, there's many lifetimes, and you're dealing with many things. And so it may be things you can't even see or touch with your own physical mind, but you might be able to put your hands on your body, like we've talked about before, get in touch with that inner self, that little girl, little boy within you, and find out where that trauma is really coming from. And this is one thing I wanted to share with that. It's a real easy process to do it, honestly, is when you're in your meditation, if you're not familiar with meditation, just really getting into a quiet place, even just getting into a place where you're sitting with yourself and you're open and willing to be with you. That it's simple as that. Close your eyes, put your hands on your body, and ask yourself, like, what's really going on? What am I really feeling here? And then there's, if your little girl or little boy shows up, or if you have a feeling, or, my father did this or that, you might see or feel or sense into a moment. And then you can think of it this way, like everything is happening now. So think of there's all these memory rooms, like dimensional rooms, and you're going through your mind. It's all now. So literally your pearl, your power, your belief about yourself is sitting on the floor in that memory room. There's your father, you as a little girl, and the pearl on the floor. It's just sitting there. So when you close your eyes, just going to that room where that memory sits, freezing it, and then you can actually work with it. You can pull it away. You allow yourself to see that the oppressor, per se, in that scenario, has no more tools than you do, that they're also a child on a journey. They're also just trying to figure it out like you are, and they can't really give you what you're looking for because they can't give it to themselves. And so in that moment, you realize, oh, because they can't help me, and he's dealing with his own hurts and wounding, and that's why he's even acting this way. And then you're giving to your child, you see yourself there, you're holding yourself and reaching into, like, no, you are worthy, you are good enough, you're valued, I love you, I'm going to give you what you need, I'm going to be here for you, we've got this together. And then you want to intentionalize seeing that pearl just kind of breathe into, like, a crown on your head, a belt, an armband, right into your mind and your heart, whatever you like to do it. And see that oppressor go in a purple light and just send it away from you and move it out. And you can do this process through as many memories as you want. And you are literally collecting your pearls. And I've spoken of this before, but once you do that, now you're just neurally cutting away programming in your mind of those places, the limiting beliefs that you would go to in the past. You're catching them and reframing them.
That when you were talking about that from the past, I wrote down ancestral trauma, that there are things that are, maybe our parents and grandparents. Let's not go all the way back. It gets kind of complex. But, like you were talking about, maybe your mom or your dad or your grandparents, maybe they didn't have the most stellar behavior. And there were things that really upset you and traumatized you that you've kind of held on to. By looking at it from a different perspective, that they were going through their own thing, that they were doing the best they could at the time. Maybe they had mental illness that nobody knew about, maybe a million things. And to be able to just know that they were doing the best they could, and now it's my responsibility to kind of break that pattern for this generation so that we can be free to be who we are. And in doing that, I have found it's helped me to look back at anybody in my past and really love them unconditionally, because I wouldn't be where I am today without all of the things that happened. And I'm grateful to be where I am. So it's kind of looking backwards, but then being present with what we have right now, where we are right now, and being really, just like you can love unconditionally someone else, to do that for yourself.
Well, that's really the crux of it. So that goes back to, that's the whole gig, right? Forgiveness and love.
Yeah.
So the process that we're talking about is peeling away trauma, right? That's the first process. These are releasing emotional trauma wounding. For those of us who've been through emotional trauma, I was one of those people. So I had to do these processes and really work through trauma. Not everyone has massive trauma, but we all have little traumas, because even just small things, you may think, well, I have a great life, everything's good. Well, great, that's awesome. And what we get to look at is, but do I feel any places where I'm still not loving fully every part of me? Or forgiving, as you just brought up, which is also the really next key. After we're picking up our pearls or in the process, we have to forgive the person. We have to release them in order to let them go. We have to forgive them. And a real simple thing to realize there is you're not forgiving that person for them. You're forgiving them for you, because you're the person that carries around the hate, the anger, the resentment. They're just like, whatever, right? Usually they don't care. But you're the one that's suffering because you're holding on to this pain or this angst. So it's not about the other person. It doesn't mean, oh, I forgive them, I condone them, I think that was good. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means I'm allowing myself to learn what it is I got to learn from the experience, to see the reflection, because there is always one reflection of yourself. Everything is that. And then work with that, and then forgive and let go. Because what ultimately this first part we're talking about, there's many doors, but this door that we are often talking about, because it's really applicable for most people out here right now. Most of us have we need to get through these doors of love, compassion, and forgiveness. That's really the door to get through in ourselves, so that we can feel really enlivened about who we are, what we're doing each day, feeling confident, at peace, content in your being, and creating a vibrant, harmonious, new earth reality together.
Yeah, nothing small about that, huh? When you were talking about the what you may have gone through or what someone else may have gone through, one of the things that I see people do sometimes is they minimize their own traumatic experiences because they compare to somebody else. That, oh, well, I didn't have it as bad as she had it or he had it or they had it, so I can't complain. So it's really not about complaining. It's just about
healing.
And what might have sent me into a tailspin at 18 may not have sent you into a tailspin at 18. So how we're affected by different things in our life, no judgment. Just recognize it, heal it, love yourself, and move and let it go, forgive, and move on.
So that kind of brings for me, I was talking with a student the other day, and we were talking about certain things, and then for me, it kind of like, well, all those things are included if you come into a foundational belief. So if you can wrap your head around this, a foundational belief is that this is entirely an energetic game. This is a spiritual reality. You are a spirit having a physical, experience, but you're a soul having a physical experience in this third dimensional reality here on planet Earth. And if you see it first foundationally from that point of view, then that means that your spiritual practice, your meditation, being in touch with yourself, self-reflection, all these things we are talking about are your primary thing. They're literally the only thing, really. In my world, I mean, I do a lot of things, but my foundation is built upon my spiritual practice. And it has been since I was little, really. Honestly, faith has been my number. I've always had faith, and I'm so grateful because it's a beautiful thing. But that foundational belief that we're a spirit having a physical experience means you approach everything differently. It means you approach it from, I'm going to do my meditation, get clear, fill myself up, be connected to divine source, my own God energy, source light, and then go out and connect and be filled. I'm working, to heal. I have been working all these years, and honestly feeling that, yes, I am here. I've healed myself, which feels amazing to say. Like, I have healed myself to come into a place of feeling like enlivened and peaceful and content each and every day. So I do know it's possible because I do come from trauma. It has not always been this way. Those of you who might know me might think, oh, but you're always so vibrant, she's always so blah, blah. But it hasn't always been that way.
Right.
I worked to get here. It was a peel away. Yeah. And I'm still working on my delivery, on my communication. I can be so blunt. I mean, we all have our places. Yeah. So, I get to work on those still and, and really get to show up for myself and hope that people around me too can be patient with me as I learn how to be more patient too. So we're always working on something. And that's kind of the beautiful thing when we realize that everyone's working on something. There is no judgment because we are one. See, if you're going into hierarchy, it's still the master-slave programming of this system, kind of so to speak. So,
right, nobody's better than. Nobody even knows more because we all have access intuitively to this amazing amount of wisdom that is in the universe.
They said that's yes and no. Nobody, you're right. We all have access, but not all of us are accessing it. So it's not that someone has more capacity or more ability. That's not true. We're all part. I mean, I'm not saying you're saying that, but we're all a diamond. We're all a facet of that diamond. We each have this unique mixture of the whole that is specifically us, right? But we also have experience that, like, think of a stream. Like, starting from the source, it starts to flow down. I might be a droplet in the middle of that stream. You might be a droplet almost to the end of that stream. And then someone else is a droplet just starting at the beginning of the stream. Right. So it's not that any being is better than or any of those things, but there are differences and we can honor those. And this is something our culture doesn't do well, to be honest, that other cultures do. They honor there are differences, like spiritual, like Chinese cultures, the cultivation Taoism. These cultures, you honor that there are levels of learning. It's not better than, it's levels of learning. And in knowing those levels, then if I know that, gosh, here's an example. There's this great book I read a million years ago. It's called 2150. It was written in the 70s, and it was based on this concept of dreams. Brings us to dream. This person was dreaming in the book, was going into a dreamscape that was this in completely other reality, and they were actually living between the two realities, like very vibrantly. And it was set in 2150, that new reality. And everyone's tunics vibrated at your resonance, like where your energy frequency was.
That's so cool.
Instead of having this ego thing, we're like, oh, well, I know what well, I know it also. Well, so do I. Well, I know stuff too. All this stuff we do. As, like, instead of doing that, how much more conducive to growth and learning would it be if I'm like, well, Eila, you're a 5. You got a 5 tunic. I'm a 3. Well, tell me, I want to become a 5.
Tell me about
tell
that.
me what I need to know. Like, give me the goods.
Yeah.
If we could do that with each other and realize where one another really is in kind of our experience of reality. It's not that anyone's better or more knowledgeable. It's just our experience is we each have a facet that another person doesn't, and we can actually learn from it. So if we could learn to receive instead of judge from one another and receive our gifts and realize that someone being really vibrant in their gifts is like, well, you want to know more about that. Like, ask them something. Like, don't compete with them. And that's hierarchy. Again, if you're going back to competition or judging, it is hierarchy. And hierarchy is duality. And duality is set in the master slave programming. And we want to bust all that and come into unity consciousness, which means we're all empowered, amazing beings, full of our own gifts, knowing who we are, all radiating in our knowledge, presence, experience, and that each is valuable, but each is totally different and different flow in that stream. And it may be a different, vibration. And in that book, it was like ones and twos lived nearby and then had like meetings with a 4 once a week. And 4s, and you're working on as a 3 and a 4, maybe you're working on telepathy and you're working on moving kinesthetics, and you're working on specific tools and gifts so that you expand forward in the whole of spiritual evolution.
And for you, whoever you are. Yeah.
Right. For who you are. Exactly. Not about anybody else.
Right. Recognizing yourself and also what you're passionate about. I feel passionate about these things, so I'm going to focus more on those things where someone else is over here. But we can all, like you say, with the facets, we come together and we're all one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in the vibration, so you realize that, like, for instance, you could be an engineer and I'm a surfer, but we both are vibrating at a 6. Let's say, and it's like our vibrational understanding is what you can kind of think of it as. We would actually understand the same thing, but just from a totally different angle. But we're like, we would get each other. Like, oh yeah, I get it. Because I can relay it to when I'm on a wave, and like, if I don't jump, I'm in a pearl. There's all these metaphors within anything you do, because the bottom line is if you've been good at something, you can get good at anything. Because once you know how to be good at something, you know how to be good at anything. Because it's the same process. How did you get there? You practiced every day. You repeated.
Learning
you
and
studied,
practice.
You
Learning
learned.
and practice.
You did consistent application. That's how you get good at anything. So once you've in mastery or in exceptional work of anything, you have the building blocks to get good at anything else.
Yeah. Well, that makes me think of music, because music is something that everyone can do, and there are certainly some people who excel at it, and they go to professional, but any of us can learn and practice and have an experience of it.
Well, you and Eila, we could do that right now. I mean, we can sing any old time. Hey, woyala, wono walio, muhoe buma, lageni forie, wofa mama, wono walio.
All right, it's time for a break. We're going to take a quick station break and come right back. If you want to give us a call, dial in at 884-5657 after the break.
Aloha, North Kohala. Kohala Cares has moved its weekly food drive from Sushi Rock to the Hub parking lot. Those in need can drive to the parking lot and pick up a bag of groceries. Pickup begins at 4:30 every Wednesday. Please wear a mask. Donations, especially produce, will be accepted Tuesday from 1:30 to 4 and Wednesday from 3 to 4:30. We want to thank all our donors and volunteers for making all this happen. Remember, we're all in this together. Mahalo.
Woman, sister, do you hear me? You are the giver of life. Your blood is...
This is Eila Allgood of Women's Voices. Tune in on Monday and Wednesday from 4 till 6 p.m. to listen to women from around the world, around Hawaii, songs with positive and empowering messages on KNKR LP 96.1 FM. Monday and Wednesday, 4 to 6 p.m.
Your bones are the trees trees in the forest.
Aloha, you're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Eila Allgood with Michal Carrillo, and we're doing Intuitive Talk Story. And I thought I'd start talking a little bit, something that came up for me yesterday had to do with dreams. And I know more and more people are having some vivid dreams and kind of on a regular basis. So if that's you, or even if you want to, I mean, you can put that out into your universe and say, I want to have more dreams, and more meaningful dreams is what I ask for. Anyway, the other day, I woke up from this dream, and as I was looking at it, and it had to do with, at the end of the dream, there was my daughter who's 35, and she was outside, and she was calling for me to let me in, let me in. She was locked out. And where I was, we were on lockdown. So interesting words that came up. And at first I thought, because I do have a telepathic connection with her, a psychic connection, I thought, well, I wonder what's going on with her. That's my first thought right away. And then I thought, well, I can't talk to her right now. So what if she is me in the dream? What is that going to tell me? So sometimes, and then I kind of went down that path and started to look at what am I possibly locking myself out of? What do I need to let in about me? So when you look at your dream and you see somebody you know, maybe it's about them, maybe it's about you, maybe it's about both. It's just another way to look at the characters in your dreams more than the kind of our left brain where, oh, it was Sue and Mary and Lehua in my dream. Well, maybe they were there, but maybe they were parts of you trying to communicate something, that your soul is trying to tell you something in the space of your dream where you're not thinking. It's an opportunity for our soul to talk to us.
Absolutely. A lot of times you can work out deep problems in your sleep. You know, I know people who actually go to sleep to do that, to work something out, because you can access it easier in that space. And then what you were bringing up for those who want to dream more, want to experience more dreaming, another thing you can do is start writing down your dreams when you wake up, and start remembering. Just immediately start writing as much as you can. Have a journal at your bedside, because the more you remember and write down, the more you'll actually remember and continue to remember if you write it, if you journal it every morning. And then honestly, a lot of people there's a lot going on in the dreams is a big topic, really, because you're talking about dimensional spaces, because you're moving into dimensional spaces when you are dreaming, right? Many people, I mean, depending on who you are, perhaps you're astral, perhaps you are traveling in your sleep, going somewhere in your sleep. So that brings up protection in my world, which I think is applicable to everyone, every day, anytime, anywhere, which is staying spiritually protected. Again, I have a YouTube channel, Michal Anna, Michal ANNA. There are a lot of meditations, and they're really visual prayer visualizations, honestly. They're energetic tools to help you do things to manage your energy and your spiritual mana, so that you can have a, flow through life with ease and grace. That's the goal, to be able to move in your gifts and experience yourself fully. So those tools, which we talked about earlier as being the foundational belief that it's a spiritual, that you are a spirit having a physical experience. So in that foundational belief, I need to do my tools every day. I need to protect my space. I need to ground. I need to connect to source, protect. And also before you sleep, because when you're sleeping, you're moving into other realms. So it's really great to protect your sleep. An easy way to do that is put yourself in a golden orb of light, and then put your house in a golden orb, your room, then your house, then your whatever. Continue on if you'd like, your town. And just seeing, you can also intentionalize, if you don't speak with your spirit guides, you can learn to. You can just ask to start speaking to them. Just say out loud, I want to start understanding. I want to speak to my spirit guides. Show me the way. Pray, ask. Ask and you shall receive. So the more you ask for something, the more it will come into your reality. And you will be able to access those places and talk to your guides and access different information, because this really is a fourth dimensional reality that we're really living in. And you're seeing it on a third dimensional reality, but it's really all happening on this fourth dimensional reality. And we're kind of the goal is moving into more of a fifth dimensional reality where we are in harmony, in conscious awareness. We are able to self-reflect, take responsibility for ourselves without having defense or pretense, and be able to move forward in a creative, co-creative process with respect and love for one another.
That feels yummy.
Yes. So yummy. Juicy.
Yeah. So you were talking about third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. And earlier today, I was engineering for Tutu's Talk Story, and Holly had Nani Svensson on. And she was talking about growing up in the valley, in the mountains over Pololu Way. And what I really took away from her love of that experience was her connection to the earth and the spirit of the earth, and then how she set out to recreate that at her garden over by Keokea. So and then other people get to have that experience when they go there. So as we grow and change, we create this harmonic, loving space so that others can also be part of that. It's all part of our interactions. Letting go of the old is a really big part of that, as we've been talking about limiting beliefs, letting go of limiting beliefs. And letting go, sometimes we have to let go of certain types of people or relationships as we move, because we're just going someplace that maybe they're not there yet or wanting to go there yet. And it's okay, because there's new people that you will resonate with. So and that's the acknowledging the fear of, oh boy, if I change too much, these people aren't going to want to hang out with me anymore. And it's okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be provided for.
Think of it like this fabulous novel, and you are the main character. When you read a novel, read any fantasy novel, any fiction book, every chapter isn't just like they were in there doing the one thing. You're on a journey. You're on a magical journey. It is magical March after all. You are on a magical journey, and literally it just the chapters change and groove, and be grateful. I just love to think of it this way. For me, it's just every part. I know everything is constantly changing. That is also such a foundational belief for me, that I am just so excited and happy to be experiencing what I'm experiencing right now, because I know it will change. Yeah. Like, I know everything's going to change again soon. So I'm just going to enjoy what I'm doing, because, I don't know, but it's going to change. Yeah. So if I don't just enjoy this, I'll miss it. So I just have this, I want to just eat up every piece of my moment because I know it's changing all the time. Mm-hmm. And also, as you heal, literally, as you heal your trauma and you let go of these attachments, these beliefs, I'm telling you, you just feel different. You don't feel the same way anymore. And another component of that, guys, which we talked about before, is health. It really does matter what you put in your body. Yeah. I didn't really, over the years, I've been really pretty healthy for many years, 20 years. I've been on this more of an organic, good eating path, etc. But I still would eat a lot of, this and that. I'd have something, make sugar. This is the number one gig, basically. Get sugar out of your life. Yeah. Because sugar, high fructose corn syrup, white sugar, period, is feeding everything you don't want. It's feeding parasites, it's feeding bacteria, it's feeding dis-ease, it's feeding your fear, it's feeding all of it.
Right, it affects your brain, it affects your body in a negative way. It's not going to get you closer to joy. Right. It may feel like joy in the moment when you get it.
It might feel like a rush.
That's
you might be like, woo, woo, and then you fall and crash hard.
Yeah, and we're talking about the added sugars, not you have an
Fruit
apple and
is
it has sugar in it. No, not
Talking
that.
about specifically white sugar.
White sugar, brown
high
sugar.
fructose corn syrup, brown sugar, actual sugar.
Yeah.
But if you're eating a piece of fruit that has natural sugars, so
It's
not
a
an
lovely
apple,
thing.
not an apple. We're not talking about that. Yeah, and we brought this up before, but if because sugar, Candida, for instance, is a condition when you have too much sugars in your body, and you also can get halirot. When you get Candida, you get halirot, which is
What's
the
that?
spots on your back.
Oh, I got
kind-
that, and I don't eat sugar.
Well, but the halirot, no, that's a small kind different. But that will sort of small kind. Oh, you know what? I can help you a little bit with that.
We're having a moment here.
Podiarco gel is really good for the external, guys. I get that from Nature Sunshine, by the way. But I'll turn you onto that, Eila. But the
We'll talk later.
Podiarco, but Candida in general, it also makes you emotional.
Yeah.
See, you're swinging from highs to lows. For ladies, you feel like you're on your pre-moon like all the time. When you have too much sugar in the body. So cleansing the body, getting on an alkalizing diet, you want your pH to be in like the 6.5 to 7.5 range. If you don't know what that means, your pH is where your body is either acidic or alkaline. You don't want your body to be too acidic. Sugars and meats and a lot of those things that convert to sugar, all foods
Breads.
that are white convert to sugar.
Yeah.
Everything white converts to sugar. All that stuff is acidic.
White potatoes.
Yep, it converts to sugar.
I was at
Alkalizing,
Go ahead.
Alkalizing is the veggies, the
Yeah.
greens, the fruits, and good healthy grains. And
I don't know.
okay, well,
I don't know. That's not my area. I'm not going to pretend to know.
Well, I'm not pretending to know this, but
No, you
my
probably
mama
know
is a
better.
nutritionist and iridologist, is where I've gleaned a lot of my health knowledge. She's been my teacher and my doctor. So I've gotten to learn this from her. She'd be better at describing it, though, to be honest. It's not my expertise.
No, but people can research it for themselves.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
look for places to learn more about the effects of sugar or how to have a more alkaline body and why that is good.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of information that's out there. I just wanted to say that I went to the dentist the other day and she advised me to rinse my mouth with baking soda and water. And I never heard of that, to make it more alkaline.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it. It's not the most, like fun thing to do in the world, but it feels like it's good for me. So I'll do it.
The other thing, a couple things little ones I like. I do lemon water. Like the first thing when you get up, you can do lemon water, and that helps to alkalize your body. Also, apple cider vinegar, like a little shot of apple cider vinegar in the morning.
You drink that?
I don't because I don't need to. But if I were really acidic, I would.
Yeah, I know the lemon water is good
to become more alkaline. So. There's a lot of really great tips out there, and so check it out because the point is really it matters. It does help your energetic, your spiritual harmony. It's a trinity. It's mind, body, spirit. We have to do all of it. We have to want to be in harmony and stocking our mind. These things we talk about with limiting beliefs, etc.
Right.
The physical is putting what do you want in your vehicle. This is your car. It's your vessel. If do you want to drive a Lamborghini or you want to drive a Pinto? You know what I'm saying?
Well, and
it's up to you.
Part of loving yourself unconditionally is loving your body enough to put in what is good for it.
Well, and if you got a nice big Cadillac, you want it to be clean and nice and room. Whatever you got, make it nice.
Yeah.
Whatever you got, love it. Whatever your flavor is, enjoy it. Like. Go for it. I want to see all of y'all as you, like your vibrant you.
Yes.
Let's bring each of us with our own little Shazam to the table. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Where do you want to go now? It's 3:44. Anybody have any comments or questions? Give us a call.
Who's got a question? Someone give us a call.
884-5657. We'd love to hear from you. Find out what's going on in your corner of the world right now. It's a beautiful day out here in North Kohala, palm trees swaying in the breeze.
It is a beautiful day. We're very blessed to have, sunshine and amazing clean air and wind. And that's another thing. we always bring us up, but I can't stress it enough, because another component that helps us is gratitude. Whenever you're feeling all shmur in yourself, you can always remember what to be grateful for, because guaranteed, you got something to be grateful for. I got so many things. I mean, like a hot shower for me is just like gratitude. You know, I've taken lots of cold bucket showers in Africa and in Guinea at our school, and we you know, the kind, it's you know, you're grateful for a hot shower. You know, like that's a nice thing.
Yeah, it's a great way to get out of a mood too. If you're griping with somebody or they really irritated you and you're just in that place, if you just take a few breaths and then say, all right, what can I be grateful for right now? And it could be the fact that you're alive. You know, it could be that you're standing up, that you're able to walk, that you're able to have some food in your stomach. I was just hearing that there's a horrible famine going on in Yemen today. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Not to mention the stuff been going on in Texas. The poor people there freezing and having no food on their shelves, no water, no electricity.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah. It's really hard times.
It's such so now is more than ever a time to be grateful, and also to pray for our fellow citizens, our fellow people. I just want to remind all of you how powerful you are, and that your prayer works, that your prayer is powerful. Speaking out of your mouth for yourself, the things you want in your own being, in your own reality, but also speaking out what we want for our world, for our communities, believing, trusting, have faith out there. I say to you, have faith, and more than yourself, know that we are one. We are in this together. And it is about all of us lifting ourselves up. Don't give in to whatever chatter you hear that wants to take you downward. Release that. Cut that away, literally and figuratively, with your breath, with your energy. Make yourself free of that which does not serve you, so that you can really exude your own essence, really be in your own strength and power. More than ever, that ask is upon us, because truly the only power that can be taken from you is that which you give away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as you were talking about praying for other people, something that I've been doing more of, not always as a prayer, but more of asking for divine light and love and healing to go to a particular person who is actually having some really bad behaviors, some really negative behaviors, people I don't agree with. You know, it doesn't matter.
Sending them love, yes.
Send them love. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be my love that I love them, but I can ask the universe to bring them, you know, this beautiful light and love, so that they can raise to wherever they need to go.
That's interesting that you just made that differentiation for
yourself.
There
is a distinction for me.
Yeah, I can see that. I can almost feel like you have someone in mind. I can feel it all of a sudden, like, So,
well, can I tell you something about that? So the reason I do that is because there are people who are no longer in my life, but I wish them well, but I don't want the cord of love to be attached from me to them.
I want
it to go from divine to them.
I want to speak on that,
okay.
my sister.
Amen.
And that is this. You don't need a cord to anyone. I don't care if they're your juicy soulmate love. No cords to nobody but the infinite source light. There's no holding back on our love. You don't have to monitor it like that. You don't have to make distinctions and put it in a little category. Because the truth is, when we love ourselves, well, I am you, Eila. Even that guy I hate over there, I'm him too, because I am all that I am. So in that, it's infinite love. And my love is not a cord with a string that attaches to anyone. It's love that radiates, because love is not an emotion. Love is a frequency. You can radiate in the frequency, vibration of love all day, every day. It doesn't mean you're making love to everything. Doesn't mean you're, they're your best friends with everything. It just means you're resonating in the vibration of love. Like, I truly love everyone, to be honest. I really do. Every person I see, I love them. I don't necessarily, we're not going to go home and hang out. I don't go to their house, but I love that person. Like, I'm so glad to see their smile. Like, I'm just like, I love you. You're great. Like, I don't even know you, but you're fabulous. Like, I feel like that a lot about, everyone. And so, it's a vibration. And our emotional love, that's more if you're going into eros love or love for a familial love. We have different kinds of love we do for relationships. But even then, no cords, people. Don't be courting nobody unless you're a mama and you got a young child. Then you have a cord until they're a certain age and then you cut it. But otherwise, no cords to anyone. That's part of our daily practice in our meditation and in my prayer visualizations that you'll find. And that is to cut cords with all sentient beings on a daily basis, connecting yourself to the God of your heart and each being to the God of theirs, so that we can all resonate from our own information as our own shiny, beautiful diamond facet, and we can reflect and share with one another.
All right. So I'm going to have to meditate on the whole love thing.
Yes.
I appreciate your perspective. And it's good for people to hear that, different perspectives, and find your truth, when we're in that. What came up for me, I'd like to ask you this because you do healing work with people.
Yes.
Something I was taught a long time ago, 30 years ago, with energy healing, is that I do not use my own energy for healing. I channel energy for healing so that I'm not draining myself. Any thoughts about that?
Oh, lots of thoughts.
Oh, good.
I've been doing this 22 years.
Yes.
Got a lot of thoughts. Let's see. So, absolutely, I do not use my own energy. Now, that's different. So now you're making, this gets into maybe where you're thinking from before. So my personal mana versus universal flow, I channel a lot. That's kind of my thing. Like I channel, therefore I am. So that channeling is all universal. It's not my own essence. Again, back to protection. For me, I have a lot of practices that I utilize. I'm very protected. I'm actually moving energy into certain places. I'm releasing it with my spirit guides. I'm working not alone. I'm working with divine light source energy. And I'm absolutely using, just in general, I don't really use my personal energy though. In general, I fill myself up and then I just connect into source light, and I'm just radiating source light through me. So when I go out into the town, let's say, and I'm telling you I see someone and I just love them, that's not my personal mana at that moment either. I'm not in personal mana. I'm just in the vibration of love because it's the same feeling. I feel that all the time. And you come into my field and, you're God too. And I love you too. And so it feels like that. And to work with people, I have to feel that way. I can't help them. I can't help people if I don't love them. And in essence, so it's this vibration of love, because I also have looked at all of my dark places. So someone else's darkness doesn't bring up a thing in me for myself anymore. Yeah. So, because I'm like met my darkness, I'm not afraid of it. Like, I know how horrible I can be. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You're not hiding it. You're not stuffing it down.
I'm not stuffing it down. Yeah. So I think there's things, and we still have some energy on something. It feels like I have to resist it. Yeah. I have to push it away because there's energy. And here's the secret there, Eila. Embrace. Yeah. Because your programs will do the same. They'll tell you, don't meditate. When you're triggered or you're in your program, it's going to tell you, you don't need to do that. You don't have time to meditate. You don't have time to go sit and do that. Oh, that's stupid. Right. And it will do everything to get you to not do something to help yourself. And you have to push through that resistance and say, I embrace. Even when I really don't want to talk to, okay, yes, I'm... Okay, I'm breathing, and I will. What would you like to say to me? Yeah. You have to go there, and we have to push through our own resistance. Yeah, that resistance is going to happen again and again until it breaks, like through multiple layers to get to always embracing.
So when you work with people, you're bringing through energy through you, and where are you in that process? Do you feel charged, energetically charged? Do you feel drained?
I never feel drained because again, I'm not using my own energy. So how could I feel drained?
Yeah.
I'm just, like vesseling. So I'm always here, like, in my conscious mind. And so, I don't know, the way I would explain, everybody who does energetic or spiritual work obviously has their own way. There's no right way for this. Everyone's way is their way, the way you see, the way you experience it.
Sure.
And for me, I sense more. I do see pictures. I do see things, and they're like their message. They're kind of a sensing. It's not sometimes like an elaborate artwork picture in my mind. It's more like a sensing.
Right.
And
You're less visual and more
sensing. Yeah. But then I can see a picture within my mind, but it's more like the energy creates the picture.
Yeah.
It's more like an energy. I sense into the energy, and then I can sense what's there. And then I'm moving it, and I'm releasing it, and often, talking with you about it so that you can become your conscious mind to move it as well, because they're just energies that are in your being that are stuck based on a belief of something you think about yourself, because really most things in your body are not actual physical pains. It's energy, and it actually can go away like that if you want. That's possible. So so it's about so for me, working with individuals is about being really clear. I'm very clear what's mine, and I'm very clear what is someone else's.
Yeah. I
am not involved energetically. I've contained my energy. I've prepared myself to be in I'm here to serve this being and to receive what is needed for this being. And I pray before every session with my clients. I create sacred space. We create a space that healing can take place in, so that it's sacred and safe and connected. And then we close that space. So that's also energetically. And I don't encourage anyone to just play in energetic fields, right? Because there is real things, and and it's about being smart and clear, and it's about pure-heartedness, and honesty. Everything's the same, but are you in service to self or in service to others? It's simple
in that moment.
No, all the time. No. I mean, the path is clear. Are you in service to self or service to others?
But when you say, are you in service to self or service to others, but you need to take care of yourself.
Let me say it
in service to others.
Let me say it a different way.
Yeah.
Are you in a path of I own the power?
Okay.
Or I am a
that's
vessel
a big
of God's love and power.
Yeah.
It's the ownership of power where I want to be powerful. That's the fear. That's the evil. Versus I am part of a whole, and we're all in it together, and we are all empowered through the Spirit of God, or however you like to say it. So those to me are the two basic. It's really simple. Like you're either choosing this or that. Yeah. So in each moment, you're choosing that path, and you're choosing to be, I say, in service to others, but that doesn't discount what you're going to, which is a whole other thing, which is taking care of yourself. And self-care.
No, you made it clear. Yeah. You made it clear. And being we're coming to the end, I want to say that has been our intention in being here, is to channel whatever communication, whatever we can say that we hear. I tend to hear spirit. Whatever can help you, the listener, and we're part of that process, but we're here to serve the community.
Correct. We're doing this to share with all of you.
Yeah.
Because we hope this is of value, that to hear us talk about these things and to share little pieces of maybe that you're just not alone, that there are a lot of other people who are experiencing things. And right now, if you are someone who's peeling the layers away and you need more tools, please reach out. We're here.
You know where to find us. We're right here in town.
Exactly. Reach out. I mean, I do work with many people in a small town. But
and you can find us through KNKR website. You can, send it. There's some way to send an email to somebody to find us.
Totally. Please reach out. But the goal here is to give tools. And for me, I really felt Spirit lead me to want to reach out more in these last couple years, because honestly, I had spent the last 21 years healing myself. And so once I healed my own trauma, I feel like, well, gosh, I can be of more service because I understand how to heal it because I've done it with myself. And, there's real concrete things there, and it's not easy. and I didn't really have someone helping me. So I love that I can have, I did. I had many people along the path. Let me not say that.
Yeah.
And I honor each and every one of them because they all came at right times to help me in exactly what I needed in that exact moment. But I didn't have someone like myself who was actually able to